What is our first main topic today?
All right, everyone. This comes from Andrew Schumm. So the reviews are out for Don't Look Up, and they're a little confusing. As I'm writing this, it is currently rotten on Rotten Tomatoes with a 58%. But if you click on the reviews, most of the positive ones aren't just giving the movie a pass. They're saying it's actually pretty phenomenal and very well done. A very well done film. One even says it's this generation's Doctor Strangelove, while on the flip side, others are calling it smug and a disaster of a film. Could this be the most divisive film of the year?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Andrew. And yeah, look, I have been, like many, many people, very, very excited for Don't Look Up. Like the moment you hear about the cat, there's not really a lot of debate about it. This is one of the most impressive casts ever assembled for a film, like ever. As a matter of fact, you run down, obviously you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Academy Award winner Leonardo DiCaprio, Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett, Academy Award winner Jennifer Lawrence, multiple Academy Award winner Meryl Streep, Academy Award nominee Timothy Chalamet, Academy Award nominee Jonah Hill, Ron Perlman, Mark Rylance, Michael Chiklis, Tyler Perry. I mean, this is a loaded cast from top to bottom as you run it down. And I thought the trailers have been kind of funny. I mean, they haven't completely knocked me off my feet, but I thought the trailers look kind of funny and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the reviews are now coming out and they're very divided. And they're not just divided, they are strongly divided. And what I mean by that is, like Andrew was kind of pointing out in his message, is that the ones that like it seem to really like it. And the ones that don't seem to really not. And then there are a few right there in the middle and stuff like that. Here's where the main problem seems to be. The basic understanding now that we get from all the reviews is this: the comet hurling towards Earth. Because for those of you who don't know what this movie is supposed to be about, here it is. Kate Debasky, Jennifer Lawrence, is an astronomy grad student, and her professor, Dr. Randall Mindy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, make an astounding discovery of a comet orbiting within the solar system. The problem, it's on a direct collision course with Earth. The other problem? No one really seems to care. Turns out, warning mankind about a planet killer the size of Mount Everest is an inconvenient fact to navigate. With only 6 months until the comet makes impact, managing the 24-hour news cycle and gaining the attention of the social media-obsessed public before it's too late proves shockingly comical. What will it take to get the world to just look up? So that's the premise of the film, right? Well, apparently here's the deal. You read all the reviews and they let you know. The whole idea of the movie is that the comet coming towards Earth is just an allegory. What this movie is really about is climate change. And it's kind of a spoof, if you will, kind of a parody in a way of the fact that you have scientists trying to warn people there's a cataclysm coming and nobody is paying attention. Nobody wants to pay attention. And that's kind of what the movie is setting up, right? That there's this comet coming. It's going to destroy the Earth. And then we saw that clip they put out with them meeting the president and her chief of staff. And they're like, whatever, who cares? There's always something disastrous happening. And like, it comes across as silly. But I guess the whole point of the movie is that it's an allegory about climate change and stuff like that. Now, the main criticism I've read from a lot of the critics is that it is so over the top heavy-handed. Like one critic I read said, it's like they've got these sausage-sized hands that just keep beating you over the face. And when you're doing an allegorical movie like this, there's got to be, for it to be effective, there's got to be subtlety. There's got to be subtlety to it. And when the joke of the parody is so blatantly obvious and so blatantly pounded on, it loses its effectiveness as a message movie. And so, so there are a bunch of critics who watch it and thought, oh, this is a brilliant allegory. It's set up beautifully and wonderfully. Last I checked, it had like a 59% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's probably gone up a little bit since then. But then the ones that don't like it are like, I think one of the more damning ones, I believe, was from the Hollywood Reporter. But anyway, was basically saying it's way too heavy-handed. It takes itself as a parody, you can't take the material to be taken seriously. You can't take it too seriously. Let me say that again. I love what I just said. That was brilliant. So to be taken seriously, you can't take your own movie too seriously. And when you take your own movie too seriously, your audience won't take it seriously. And that kind of seems to be the case. Now, I'm talking out of my ass a little bit here because I haven't sat down to watch the movie myself yet. I will say this. I'm pretty disappointed to hear that the reactions hasn't been great because I have really been looking forward to this. I don't know, Kim, have you heard anything about this? What were your expectations going into it?
Yeah, my expectations, although they're high, because you look at that cast and you can't really look at that pool of people and go, this is going to be crap. You have to see, well, what is the film about? Who's directing it? Who's writing it? But I was like, Adam McKay, he does great with comedy ensemble cast. Yep. He's wonderful at that. He's also wonderful at letting the talent tap into their own improv skills. And sometimes that brings out the best classic lines that we all end up absolutely loving. The other concern I have, though, is that big stars don't equal amazing.
Nope.
You can, we learned that with the, Rami Malek, Denzel Washington, Jared Leto. What was that called?
Oh, the one on Warner, on HBO.
Well, on HBO.
Yeah, where he's a detective. Yeah, not so good.
You had all these amazing people, and you looked at the end of the movie, you're like, are you kidding me? So I'm a little nervous about that. However, I feel like from the reviews, it sounds like it's preachy. And I think people don't, not everyone's on the same page and people don't want to, really be preached at. However, people do appreciate when you have a message and like you said, you're subtle, you're succinct, and you're getting across something that I can learn to now be passionate about without beating me over the head with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm nervous now.
The message of your movie needs to be conveyed through the narrative, not through turning to the camera and going, listen, people, this is what you need to do. And that's why I don't like preachy movies. I don't like preachy. The most effective movies, like we were just talking about a minute ago, are the ones that have a very strong message to give, but the message becomes implied within the narrative itself. And the audience can figure it out. The audience can figure out what your message is. And I find you lose your effectiveness, like you're saying, when you become when we get into that pulpit and you start preaching to your audience, then it doesn't feel like you're watching a movie anymore. Yeah.
And it's not that we don't appreciate it, because how many of us have now signed up with nonprofits because of a film woke us up to an issue that was happening. I know not a lot of people even knew what human trafficking was until Liam Neeson was like, look, I got a set of skills. Yeah. So I appreciate it. I just don't want to be beaten over the head. But I'm like Meryl Streep, Kate Blanchett. Is it going to be horrible? I don't think. I don't feel like it's going to be horrible, but you know what?
I got to watch down the next day or two. I got to sit down the next day or two and watch this thing. Anyway, the question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Have you been looking forward to Don't Look Up? I certainly have. What do you think about the mixed reactions coming out of it? However you guys are feeling about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.